Welcome, students, to Accounting 1115, Computerized Accounting. In this course, we will be using the textbook QuickBooks Online for accounting, and we'll also be using the Intuit QuickBooks program. What we're looking at here is the sample company. Intuit has provided a sample company online to provide new users a test drive of its QuickBooks Online program. So you'll open the sample company, explore various features of QuickBooks Online. In this particular chapter, we're going to be viewing the sample company, looking at customer, vendor, employee information. You'll also be viewing banking, sales, and expense transactions, and be looking at the chart of accounts, list, reports, and company settings. We're not going to be making any changes, such as adding a customer invoice, check, or so on. We'll be actually doing that in the next few chapters. To begin our sample company walkthrough, let me first show you where you can find this sample company. First, you're going to go into Blackboard. You're going to go into your learning modules, and you're going to scroll down and you're going to see a link that says QuickBooks Test Drive. When you click on your link, it's going to actually bring you to this screen right here. The name of our sample company is Craig's Designs and Landscaping Services. You can use this sample company to explore QuickBooks Online as often as you like. No matter what you do to modify the sample company, you'll not be able to save it. So every time you open up, it's going to return back to its default settings. When you leave and later return, it'll look the same as it did initially. So each time you open the sample company, it will retrieve your current system date, which is the date that you're working on your computer, and place that date under the company name. So that's not important right now. So the first thing we're going to do is, now that we've opened up our sample company, all right, let's kind of look at the sample company dashboard. So right here we have the screen where it shows get things done. So it's got your workspace. And of course, you can click on each of these. If you do not have something is not right, blah, 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 blah. So this is just, in your company, you'll have things that you can click on. These are all hyperlinks that you can click on to get to certain aspects. Of course, if you have things that need to be done, you will see this red icon right here. And it says here that we have 33 transactions to review. Okay. You can also click on this link right here that says Business Overview, and it'll give you an overview of your current business status. So over here on the side of the screen, this is called your navigation bar. And this is going to give you access to all the different aspects of QuickBooks Online. So the first one we're going to look at is the plus new icon. We're going to click on that, a new window pop up. And you have links for customers, vendors, employees, as well as other, where you can do various transactions depending on if it's regarding a customer, a vendor, employee. And then you have the other, which is created like if you need to record a new bank deposit, a transfer, a journal entry, etc. So we'll start talking about customers, vendors, and employees. QuickBooks Online provides easy access to customer information using the navigation bar. In this section, you're going to open up the customer section in the new tab, and then we're going to drill down for more specific customer information. So the first thing we're going to do to access customer information is come over here, and you notice as your mouse scrolls over each, you have to click on it, and it's going to pop up in various menu items. All right. So let's go back up to sales. And when your mouse scrolls over sales, another menu pops open, and we're going to scroll down to where it says customers and click on customers. When you do this, a list of customers that you have done business with either currently or in the past is going to pop up. So let's look at a specific customer. And let me just draw a little bit of information to you up here at the top. All right. So it's going to show any unbilled and activity, unpaid activity, and paid activity. Okay. So let's look at some specific information. So let's look specifically at unpaid activity. So let's find a customer that has an open balance. So our first customer, Amy's Bird Sanctuary. has an open balance of $239. So let's come over here, and you notice as my mouse scrolls over each customer, it creates a blue hyperlink so that you can just click on that. And when you do, you're going to click open up all the transactions that you've done with that particular customer in the past. Let's first start by looking up at the top of the screen where you have the customer's information and how much is due. So you have an open balance of $239, and it's actually part of your past due balance. So to try and find the exact invoice that is past due, you would come down here and you can see status, and you see the word overdue, and that is your $239. So if you notice here, nothing really blue hyperlink, but you can just click on the line itself and it's going to open up that entire invoice. So here we've opened up the invoice, and the first thing I want you to notice is it does give you the customer's information up here at the top. It also gives you the invoice date and when its due date was, and what the invoice was for. Now, if you look here, the total invoice was $459, but you received a payment of $220, leaving a remaining balance of $239. You can see that down here, and then you can also see that up here. And if you notice when I scroll over this receive payment, you can actually record any payments you received from this screen as well. All right, let's go ahead and close that out. When you close that out, it brings you back to all your transactions for that customer. And if you want to go back to your list of customers, you can just go up here and click customers. And then it brings you back to your full list of customers. All right, so QuickBooks Online also provides easy access to vendor information using the navigation bar. So just like we come over here and scroll over to sales to look for customers, we're going to come down here to where it says expenses. And you'll see here that two menu options pop open, expenses and vendors. So let's go over here to vendors and click on vendors. Here's a list of vendors. It should be a list of all the vendors you've done business with. And again, at the top, it's going to show an unbilled purchase order. It's going to show any bills that are unpaid and total amount of bills paid within the last 30 days. So let's open the one for the insurance agency. So let's click this one because this one has an open balance of $241.23. Okay, so this has been unpaid. And then actually look at the top, we have the information for the insurance agency, the vendor, and it shows that we actually have an overdue balance of $241.23. And just like with customers, it's going to give us a list of every transaction we have done with this particular vendor. All right, so we see here that we had a $2,000 bill from the 12th that we paid on the 16th, and that we still have an outstanding bill from the 12th of $241.23. All right, we can actually click on that bill and it's going to open up and it's going to give us a detail of what that bill was for. Okay, and it's for insurance. And it's going to give us the bill date and the due date. We had a net 10 term, so it was due on the 22nd. So we can either from here schedule a payment or mark as paid. So there's, you can do that from this screen. You can do that from this screen. And let's see here. We can actually do things from the screen, make a payment, create an expense, create a bill, etc. Schedule payments. All right, so also from the navigation bar, you can access employee information. So to be able to access employee information, you would come back over to the navigation bar and you actually scroll down to where it says payroll. When you hit payroll, you'll see 3 new menu options open up: employees, contractors, and workers' comp. So let's go ahead and click on employees. And when you do that, it's going to give you the list of all your employees. From here, you can edit your employee information. So let's look at Mr. Johnson. And you come over here and you simply click edit. Now, you can also make inactive, run a report. Let's start on clicking. When you click on edit though, a new window is going to pop up and this is where you would edit his information. Obviously, this is more of his contact information. You can add, change, remove, etc. All right, now from there, we're going to start talking about, so that's your customer, vendor, employee information. That's how you would look up customer information, look up vendor information, and look up employee information. So next we're going to move into banking transactions. So QuickBooks Online has online banking features that lets you automatically connect your bank and download banking related transactions. This application automatically matches the banking transactions with the previous reported QuickBooks Online transaction. QuickBooks Online calls this recognizing. This feature is briefly reviewed in the text based and no real bank account is linked to the sample or anything like that. So this is, again, it's just sample. So there's no real bank account linked to this. So obviously we're going to come up here and we're going to see over here on the navigation bar, banking. All right. So let's just go ahead and click on that and open it up. All right. All right, thank you for letting me know it's all connection is all set. Okay, so here you see a ton of transactions. You see your checking, savings, any credit cards linked to this account. So let's go to and scroll down the checking account. So we see here that we have as you notice, first I want you to check out let's click on this little drop down menu. So we've got basically 3 accounts linked to this sample company, and we have our checking account, savings account, and our MasterCard account. And you can click on any of those. You can either click on it with the drop down menu, or you can come up here and click on each of these windows up here at the top of the screen. And it's going to give you some transactions for each of these. All right, so let's click on checking, and we can see here we have several transactions down here, some of them with matches found. That would be a match found on the ledger. And you can also go over here and click on go to bank. So we have for review, we have 21 transactions for review. Then we have our uncategorized transactions. And then anything that may or may not be excluded, which there haven't been any excluded transactions. So these would be transactions that have not been categorized, and these would be transactions that need to be reviewed. Okay. You can also come over here and click on Go to Bank Register. And what this is a register of all the transactions that have occurred in your bank account, also updating your balance as it goes. And according to this, as of March 16th, 2022, which is a future date, which is, again, this is just a sample company. Anyways, it has a negative ending balance of negative $544. So, but this is just an example of how to navigate to look at if you have a bank account linked to your company. You can also click on a transaction, and here you can edit it. If you notice, is right now is an unrecognized expense, and if you know what this expense is for, you can click the drop down menu and you can change it. So if it was a utility expense, you can even get more specific to the sub account of utilities and go gas and electric or telephone. And then there's other various expenses that you can go to. So we have other expenses such as interest earned, depreciation, miscellaneous, etc. So you can obviously edit it from here. Or you can come over here and you can click on, it says find match. You can click match to see if it matches any transactions. It says 1 match found, 2 matches found. It could be one or the other. Or you could say find other matches because maybe it wasn't for either one of those, and then just the amount was similar. And this is how you match transactions from your bank account to your ledger. And this, of course, comes in handy when you're trying to reconcile your bank account to your ledger. All right, so next let's talk about sales and expense transactions. So the next 2 choices in the navigation bar are sales and expense. So we have sales and we have expense. So the sales transactions, that section provides a listing of recent sale invoices and payments. So let's go up here to sales. And we're going to go over here to it says all sales. Now, see, I did that a little differently, and I want you to notice what I did. So you can either come over here and go down to all sales, or you can click on sales and select it from the top of the screen here. So what I did was I clicked on sales, and then I came up here and I clicked on all sales. All right, so here's a list of your sales transactions. So let's look what happens when we open up one of them. So let's open up invoice number 1036. So when we click on that line, it's going to open up this invoice for $477.50. All right, so this is just going to give us an example of showing us what it looks like, what was on this invoice, who was the customer where we sent the invoice to, what was the invoice date, and when is the due date. And also from here, you can record if you received a payment or not. All right, so let's close out of that. So that's just where you can look at all of your invoices. And of course, it's going to give you a status if it's opened or closed. And so not only can you click on the invoice from here and record receive a payment, or you can come over here and click receive a payment, or the drop down menu, and here's a list of other things you can do. All right, so now let's look at expenses. So how do we access expenses? Well, we come over here and we could do one of 2 things. We can click on expenses, or we could just scroll our mouse over it and then come over here and click on expenses. But either way, it's going to show up there at the top as well. So here's a list of all of your expenses. So let's see here. Let's look at the payee for Squeaky Clean and click on this. All right, this is a bill that has an outstanding balance of $19.99. All right, and from here we can actually pay the bill. We can click on payment method. What payment method are we going to use? What reference number we're going to use? Give it a description, enter any kind of customer text, like, you know, what customer is this for, etc. All right, and we can just exit out of that. You can also come over here and you can change like what category this falls under. There's no action available at this time, but again, you can just click on the link to record payment if you need to. All right, so the last thing I want us to review is the chart of accounts. Every good accountant knows the importance of a chart of accounts and knowing and understanding what accounts each company has and uses. So to access chart of accounts, you can come back over here to your navigation bar, and you're going to go all the way here to accounting and click on chart of accounts. And here's a list of all the chart of accounts currently used. And what you see here is you're going to see a name, what type of account it is, and what detail account is it. So we have one that's prepaid expenses. The type is called as an other current asset. And then the detail type is going to be prepaid expenses. Here's an example of an asset, fixed asset. So what is the name of it? Truck, because this is your information regarding the truck that you own. The type of it is a fixed asset, and you have it under detail type of vehicles. Also underneath it, you have the original cost and then any depreciation you've recorded thus far. This is showing that it's linked to accounts. You see the little arrows where these are linked to specific accounts. And this is how you would be able to reconcile the ledger to the bank statement by linking them. So these little arrows show that they're linked. So we have the checkings, the savings, and the MasterCard, which we already looked at when we clicked on the bank information. So let's go down here to accounts payable account. With a balance of $1,602.67. So we can click on view register. And when you click on this, it's going to give us a list of all the transactions in our accounts payable account. So again, accounts payable is when we owe vendors money. So we should be able to go into our expenses and go under vendor information to see what open bills we have. And we can also come in here to the accounts payable chart of accounts to see what of those open bills is listed as a payable as well. And it gives us when we were billed by that vendor and if we paid them, when we paid that vendor and how much. So if you see here, when it's just been billed to us and it's not been paid, it shows the due date. Now if we scroll down here, when it's paid, if it's, been paid, it'll show that it's been paid in the due date section as well. So to go back to your chart of accounts, you would just come up here where it says back to chart of accounts. And you just click on that and it'll just bring you right back to your list of accounts. Now, let's scroll down to each of our different types of revenue and expense accounts. And if you notice here, it goes from view register to run report. All right, so let's find one to run report on. So let's go down here to where it shows landscaping services and click on run report. All right, and what we can do is we come up here. And this will give us different ways to view the report. Currently set on default, show the last 90 days. We can also select year to date. And you can modify the dates, how you want to look at it, what information was in there. And so once you select your date criteria, you just click run report, and then of course it'll give you a quick rundown ledger of that account. So another feature is lists. Lists in QuickBooks Online provides you with easy and quick ways to view a collection of common items. Some of the more common lists include the chart of accounts, products and services, and terms. You can decide to view a summary of all the lists available. So let's go to this gear icon, something we haven't really been clicked on before. So let's click on the gear icon. And let's click all lists. So here's a collection of lists that you can choose from. So let's do it and click on terms. So you have net 30, net 15, net 10, net 60, and you can run reports for each of these different types of terms if you so choose. Let's go back to all lists, and you got, so let's just click on different, lists. Here's a list of your chart of accounts, recurring transactions, just to kind of give you what they look like. But it's just, and then of course you have your products and services list. These are all your products and your services. So this would be just a list of your inventory. So it's just a really great tool to look at. Reports are also really important. QuickBooks Online comes with a lot of different reports for use, all of which you can customize. For instance, you can decide to focus on the financial statement reports, such as the income statement, balance sheet, statement of cash flows. So you come over here to reports and click on reports, and it gives you all the different type of reports you can look at. I will tell you that when doing your case assignments after each end of each chapter, there's going to be two main reports you're going to run. It's going to be your trial balance as well as your transaction detail by account. These are two reports that you're going to run constantly. And you're going to actually export these into a PDF or Excel and save those to your desktop and submit those for your homework assignments to show that you've completed each step for each case that you're assigned. I will go ahead and recommend that when you are in there, you go ahead and click on the star, because when you click on the star, it makes it a favorite and it shows it up here at the top. And that way you don't have to scroll all the way down. But this is a list of all the different reports that you can run. So of course, right here, it says for my accountant, this is where you're going to see your balance sheet account, your profit and loss, and your statement of cash flows. Let's go back up to this gear icon. Under this gear icon, you can do a lot of different things. And then one of the things I want you to look at is also your account and settings for your companies. So when you get your company set up, one of the first things it's going to have you do on your cases for chapter 3 is how to set up your company. So it's going to walk you through different settings that's going to want you to modify and change for each of your companies. So you would actually go into the gear icon to access your account and settings. So this video was just basically a walkthrough of your sample company. And the sample company is so you to practice navigating QuickBooks Online. You've accessed customer, vendor, employee information, viewed various transactions, viewed the chart of accounts, list, reports, and company settings. So in chapters 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, you will use the sample company to learn how to add operating, investing, and financing activities, reconcile a bank account, create a budget, add adjusting entries, and prepare financial statements and reports. Now in chapter 3, you will return to your company and modify default settings, add new accounts and beginning balances, and add customers, vendors, products, and services. So look forward to more videos where I walk through how to do all of these for each of the chapters that we review for each learning module. And again, the Sample Company is there to you to practice navigating QuickBooks Online, and each chapter will have you go through steps helping you navigate QuickBooks Online, and it's going to teach you how to complete the steps for each of your cases that you are assigned at the end of each chapter. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to email me.